Welcome back to Orange Nation, Artist of the Day. Anybody who's on the Masters of the Mic Tour. Big Daddy Kane not going to be there. EPMD will be. You got the chills.
All right, we kick off hour number 2 by bringing in a guest here in studio. Pleased to be joined by Mark Cupelo. We spoke with him last year about the Syracuse Tailgate. He's back again as we get ready for the 2023 football season. Mark, always great to talk to you. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thought I'd come in and see where the magic happens. So
yeah, this is
very
where it
happy to be
happens.
here.
It's an honor most people don't get to see where this nonsense goes
He
on.
wanted to meet you, Paulie.
Yeah.
He wanted to meet you. I guess let's start with this. How did you get involved in the NIL space, and why did you want to get involved in the NIL space?
It's really quite a story, Steve, and we talked about it a little bit last year, but just to refresh, it almost started out as a little bit of a joke, is these outrageous NIL deals were coming up and being announced. We had the Fine Mess Tailgate that's been going for, probably close to 20 years now. And I just made an offhand comment, said, what we ought to do is we ought to just take some money and we'll pay a student athlete for the right to use their name to rebrand our tailgate, thinking, hey, maybe we'll get $400 or $500 and it'd be something kind of cool to do. The thing has just blown up beyond our wildest expectations. Last year, I had donations in excess of $16,000.
Wow.
We were able to not only do our signature deal with Enrique Cruz, but we came up with a secondary deal with Chris Elmore, the Rhino, and we helped him out quite a bit. And we instituted a guest program. So at our tailgate every week, we paid an appearance fee, obviously to a non-football player, to come and spend a couple hours with us, meet some fans, and talk about their program a little bit. We had Olivia Owens, who was a wonderful young woman who unfortunately left Syracuse. Deasia Farah was with us one week, Benny Williams one week, Riley Figueres from the lacrosse team, who then went out and tore his ACL. Did not happen at our tailgate. And Joe Girard was with us for a game, too. So we got a chance to meet them. And, that's the great benefit to this, is you get to meet these kids. And it's not just number 70 down there on the field with his helmet on. You get to know them. You get to know their families. And it just brings a whole new level to fandom, if you will.
Yeah.
This brings up another point, too, is it's not just one guy that does this, right? It's you guys, the fact that you guys are out here and you're collecting money, too, and getting these guys NIL deals.
No, absolutely. And one of the things, Paulie, that disappoints me a little bit is I don't see an awful lot of the grassroots type efforts like we're doing out there. There are lots of other tailgates out there. And I think part of it is people hear these stories about the 6- and 7-figure deals and think that's what NIL is. That's not what NIL at least was intended to be. And to some of these kids, I think on the influencer app, we were told that the average transaction is less than $300. There are transactions for less than $100 for somebody to do a social media post or send a birthday message. And using that influencer platform on Cuse.com, you can engage and you can really do something to not only show appreciation, but help these kids out a little bit.
Obviously, the LaQuint Allen situation was in the news quite a bit, and from what I understand, you guys had some money, some fundraising efforts in regards to LaQuint, correct?
Yeah, we did. And just a little background is I mentioned last year's total that we brought in. My expectations this year was novelty's going to wear off. We're not going to get anywhere near that. We already closed our fundraising goal for this year.
Wow. That's great.
Not quite what we raised last year, but approaching that. So a couple of things this year. We renewed the deal with Enrique. The deal with Chris Elmore last year was kind of our Lifetime Achievement Award. So we wanted to do that again this year. We went out. We looked for a player who was going into his last year of eligibility, who started his career at Syracuse. I don't know if you want to guess how many of those there are on the roster.
Probably not a lot.
I was going to say maybe a handful.
Less than that.
Is that right?
0.
Really?
Wow.
Is that unbelievable?
That is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a function of how young the team is. It's a function of that extra COVID year.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a function of the transfer portal.
Wow.
So there was nobody that fit that criteria. We had lunch with Enrique and we brainstormed a little bit and we decided we would have a different guest join him on his video welcome for us. He does that every week on a YouTube channel, just a video welcome to the tailgate. And we said, all right, if we raise X number of dollars, LeQuint is rubber stamped as one of those guests. If we raise the next level, we're going to double his payment. If we raise the next level, then we will basically quadruple the payment. We'll have him sign some footballs for us to do a few other things. I don't want this to be just hand over the money.
Yeah.
So we always look for responsibility so we can put on the part of the athlete. So we've come up with that. The first goal I closed in 15 minutes. And I set a deadline of noon today to get to that final goal, and we surpassed that last night.
That's great.
So,
How can people help out with that? Like if they want to make a donation.
if you go, most of this is orchestrated through the SyracuseFan.com message board. So if you go out there, pinned to every one of the forums, specifically the football forum, you'll see a post entitled Syracuse NIL Time to Step Up and a couple of other ones. My information is in there, and it'll tell you exactly how you can contribute. We've had people that have given us $10. This year we've had, I think my largest individual donation is $1,000. The reason we got so high last year is I got an anonymous donation late of $5,000 from someone no one even knew. That's certainly an anomaly. We haven't come close to that again, but any amount is helpful. And I think I've got like 90 individual donors so far this year. So it is truly grassroots and from a wide base.
Tell us about Cuse Council and how people can get involved.
Sure. That's my other thing that's kept me busy the last 7 years. The Cuse Fan Council is exactly that. It's an advisory group that provides feedback to initiatives at SU Athletics, whether it's marketing initiatives, things that improve the game experience. It is headed by an executive sponsor in the SU Athletic Department. That was Andrew Goodrich, the deputy AD for quite a few years. And now that Andrew has moved on, Jeremiah Marr had been filling that role. And with the announcement today, we expect Tori Ball to fill that role. Council meets once a month, generally on the last Wednesday of each month. We have guest speakers that'll come in at times. We've had the head of Dome Concessions come in and talk to us. We've had the head of the Spirit Squad come in and talk to us. We have representatives that sit on the council from Otto's Army, so we can talk about student engagement, and basically does exactly that. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of some of the things that have come out of council, one of the first things was Cuse on the Quad was a complete outgrowth of a discussion that came up on Cuse Council. More recently, with the moving of the Pittsburgh game to Yankee Stadium and some negative feedback to that, based on feedback from the council, they decided to do that 7th game program where they're giving every season ticket holder an extra game for free, be it football, basketball, or lacrosse. A little thing, the false start counter that you see on the scoreboard, that came out of council. So it's been great. Full disclosure, I am now rolling off the council after 7 years. A good friend of mine has taken over. They call my role chief membership representative, whatever that means. But that means
Sounds important.
it does, doesn't it? I got to get business cards and something printed up so I could just pass them out. But I'm in the C-suite, so yeah, it's going forward. The application was due. Deadline was due to be last Thursday. I knew we were going to talk today, so I've asked for that to be extended. That is out on Cuse.com right now. You can apply through noon Wednesday. I think Jordan said he's going to put that in the chat as well.
Yep, I see it right now. Yep.
Wonderful. And I would urge anyone who wants to have their voice heard or wants to just get a look at what happens behind the scenes in a major college program to get your application in. And you don't have to be a super fan. We look for a wide variety of perspectives, positive and negative. One of the people we onboarded last year, and in his interview, we talked a bit, and he said to me, I've been a Syracuse fan for as long as I can remember, but I've got to say my passion for SU sports seems to be waning, and I'm not sure why. To me, that was a home run. That's a perspective that's unique that we want on the council, and those are the types of things that we'll look for.
Yeah. I guess last one for you, Mark, while you're here. What are your expectations for this season as you look at the 2023 roster and the schedule? I mean, we know those things, but what's your expectation of this team?
Steve, you asked me that last year, and I said we could win 8 games, but definitely we were going to win 7, and I got laughed at like you would not believe.
Yeah.
This team has got a lot of pieces that have to come together, but I'm going to go right back again and say that an 8-win season in the regular season is what I expect to see. That 3-game stretch is absolutely brutal with Clemson, Florida State, and North Carolina. We are one of only 2 schools, I think, that have to play the top 3 predicted teams in the ACC, but that'll bite us. But the back end, there's some opportunities there, and I think they're going to get off to a great start.
Sounds a lot like my prediction.
I was just going to say that.
Hey,
that's why I looked at you. Yeah, Paulie's bullish on the Orange this year. So
people question the offensive line, and we've got a little bit of a rooting interest there. But talking to Enrique, some of the young kids look great. Some of the kids that have struggled a little bit up till now have really made improvements, and we're expecting great things from the team.
All right, Mark. Anything that we didn't touch on that you want to get across to our listeners before we part ways?
I am going to just touch on one thing from some of the conversations last week about a rival, if I can.
Sure. Go for it.
Here's one of my peeves.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about rivalry week. Rivalry week, Thanksgiving week, got to do it. If you've been to games Thanksgiving week here or in Boston, there can't be a worse atmosphere.
Yeah, right.
There's no kids on campus. If you're at Boston, you're sitting on ice-covered bleachers. One or both of the teams has virtually nothing to play for at that point. Let's open the season with rivalry week.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I'm with you. I mean, the atmosphere in those games has not been
I think
great.
the coaches probably wouldn't be a fan of opening with a conference game to start the season, but
if they win it, though, they feel pretty good about it.
Or at least open the conference season that way, you know?
Right.
God, sitting at, we've been 3 or 4 times to Boston College for those games, and it's just brutal.
Yeah. All right, Mark. Great stuff. Appreciate you listening to the show.
he's the one.
Yeah. Good luck.
I do have to tell you that I always just listened on the radio, and then I started to listen on Twitch and watch on Twitch, and I would pay admission to hear some of Paulie's quotes, especially towards one basketball caller that we won't mention.
Yes, he entertains the masses during the commercials. Yes, he does.
And I will say this about the forum, the basketball, the Cuse, what's it called? The
SyracuseFan.com.
Yeah, SyracuseFan.com. One of my friend's fathers was like one of the original like big guys on that. It is humbling for anybody in media to search their names on that forum. Holy cow.
We love you, Paul. Trust me.
Mark, thank you for coming in. Thanks for what you're doing for Syracuse Athletics. Mark Cupelo, we're going to take a timeout. Phone lines open the rest of the way. If you want to check in, 315-437-7644. We're back after this on ESPN.